Welcome to week 2. This week, students are going to be listening to a read aloud of the book Saturdays and Tea Cakes. We're going to be focusing on characterization, we're going to be looking at similes, and we're also going to take a look at a nonfiction text, which is about our current situation with COVID-19 and how the two correlate together. In other words, what similar themes do they have and why did I connect those two topics. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you, and you are going to be able to see what it is that they are going to be working on this week. So I've logged in as our pretend student, Andy Anderson, and I've gone into his courses. We're going into our reading course for Schoology here. And we're going to go into that red click here for daily assignments folder. It is week 2, so we're going to take a look at the week 2 description that's posted. You'll notice that there is a reading, a writing, a mentor text, language, and nonfiction activities for the week, just like it would be if we were in class, although you'll notice that there's really only like one thing that you're doing for each topic, whereas we used to try to hit these every single day. So for writing, we're continuing that journal that we started last week. We are looking at journal entries 3, 4, 5, and 6. Notice that it says that the journal access is in the week 1 folder. I am going to temporarily go into this week 1 folder to open that back up though, because I did want to review over the expectations for this assignment. I haven't graded anything because you don't turn it in until May 1st once all 15 journal entries are completed. However, I was kind of checking in on how everyone is doing, and it looks like people did not read the directions slide. I'm getting a lot of responses that's like 2 sentences long, and we don't have any capitalization, we don't have any punctuation. So let's take a look at the directions on the very first page here to make sure that we are following everything that we're supposed to within each of our prompts. So type your name and the written by, that's on slide 2, right? Number 2, follow the directions to respond to each prompt each day, scheduled as posted. So for this week, once again, it's journal entry 3, 4, 5, and 6. Make sure that you are restating the question. So you are starting off your response by restating the question. You are capitalizing your sentences and proper nouns. Remember, proper nouns are like the names of people and places. So like Kroger or Michelle, those are going to be capitalized. Making sure that you're using punctuation and checking your spelling. Your responses should contain at least 6 sentences or more. Number 3, add at least 6 images throughout your slideshow. You can choose where you would like to add them. Obviously, we have 15 prompts, so out of those 15, you're adding 6 images. When I say images, you are welcome to take clip art that is associated with whatever it is that you are talking about. For example, if on the prompt about being active with your family, you talk about how you and your family have been going on a lot of bike rides, you could add in a clip art of bike ride, or of a bike, to demonstrate your bike ride. If you wanted to take an actual picture and include that, that's perfectly fine as well, but please don't feel stressed out if you don't know how to do that. You're welcome to just use clip art, and that could count as your images. Number 4, this could really be something special for you as a way to remember a huge historic event in the future, and then you are welcome to delete this directions slide once you have done that. If you are the kind of person that needs this to continue to look back and double check to make sure that you follow the expectations for each prompt, then leave it and delete it at the very end when we are getting ready to turn it in, which once again isn't until May 1st. So please take your time with these guys. Your prompts for this week, chapter 3, how has online been going? Do you like it? Why or why not? Remember, you're restating the question. There's a couple questions here, and making sure that you have at least 6 sentences with capitalization, punctuation, and then if you want to add in an image on this one, you can. Chapter 4, what have you been doing with your family and by yourself? What activities, board games, books, creative activities have been keeping you busy? Chapter 5, what advice have you been getting from the parents, family members, or other adults? And then chapter 6, what do you miss about school? What are you hoping for in the future regarding school? So those are your prompts for this week. Let's go ahead and click back over into our week 2 folder. So those are your writing assignments for this week. Once again, reading is going to be 20 minutes of silent reading each and every day, a book of your choice. If you are one of, oh, my dog is eating my son's toy. Sorry, have to say the stuffed animal. If you are one of Mrs. Withrow's, if you're one of Mrs. Withrow's students, you are supposed to be doing Success Maker for 20 minutes each day and substitute for that silent reading. Obviously, if you want to read a book on top of that, that's fantastic. But do make sure that you're doing Success Maker if you want to Mrs. Withrow's students. Mentor text, as I said, this week we are reading Saturdays in Tea Cakes. After they watch the mini lesson, they are going to complete a Google form titled Characterization Practice. We are, for language, looking at similes. I've created a mini lesson looking at 4 different similes from our book, Saturdays in Tea Cakes, and then they're going to complete a simile practice activity. And then the nonfiction article for this week is Why Tough Times Can Create Better Neighbors. I do a read aloud of that, but then I do want the students to make sure that they're opening up the PDF of that article in order to help them answer those questions. Let's go ahead and click into the week 2 folder to see what that looks like. So up at the top here, we have Saturdays and Tea Cakes Read Aloud with the characterization mini lesson. This is going to be the longest video. The other ones are well under 10 minutes. This one is 23 minutes. And the reason why is because the mini lesson for characterization is at the very beginning. And then we go into our read aloud of Saturdays and Tea Cakes. We read the whole entire book. And then I apply some of those characterization traits that we see for indirect characterization throughout our book, Saturdays and Tea Cakes. So I know this one is a longer video. Grab your Chromebook, find a comfy spot, and just enjoy the book, because that is what 90% of this is, just the read aloud. If you have younger siblings, you'll probably want them to chime in as well. Feel free to pause it if you want to discuss it with your family or anything like that during the read aloud. My son and I read this book. It's really cute, and it opens up a lot of discussions about the love that you have for family members. So that is the first thing that you're going to want to do this week. Oh goodness, my dog has another toy. Is that a toy? Okay, this time it's an actual dog toy. You are going to then do the characterization practice. Let me go ahead and click into that so you can see what that looks like. Just like we do with all of our other linked assignments, you actually have to click on it twice in order for it to open up. It is a Google form, which a lot of our activities will be. The first page is just for me to gather data as to who is answering this. So last name only, first name only, what class color are you in, and then a check once again to make sure that you watch the video with the mini lesson in it before you move on. Because if you don't watch the video, a lot of the questions are not going to make sense, and it's gonna make it a lot harder for you. So please, please, please make sure you're watching the video before answering the questions. Let's go ahead and go back into our folder. We then have a simile mini lesson, just like we saw with the mini lesson before, but this one's going to be a lot shorter. I think it's about 8 minutes long. It is me going through 5 different examples of similes from our text, and there are a lot of pauses and breaks in this because I do want you guys to think of it as an interactive activity, just like we would in the classroom, where I'm expecting you to answer back. You can answer in your head, you can answer out loud, but before I reveal what the actual answer is, please try to answer it for yourself, just like you would within the classroom. So that is our mini lesson on similes, and after you have watched that, then you are going to want to do the activity on similes. I won't click into it. It's just like the characterization one. You'll have to click into it twice to open it up fully. You're going to be looking at some examples, and you have to identify, is there a simile in this example or not? And then eventually I will give you similes, and I want you to identify what 2 items are being compared in that example. The third thing that you're going to be doing is Why Tough Times Can Create Better Neighbors. Read aloud. Once again, this is just me reading this text, which is right here, out loud to you and proposing the ideas of you thinking about the theme that's in both the Why Tough Times Can Create Better Neighbors and Saturdays and Tea Cakes. And then why you think I paired these 2 texts together. There are 4 just overall comprehension questions as well. For those 4, oh my goodness, how do you keep getting Emerson's things? Saved another stuffed animal, guys. For those 4 first questions, they are going to be about overall text comprehension and looking back in the text to find your answer, which is why it's going to be very important that you have that text open and that you are looking for the answers within the text. How you are going to do that, and the kids should be familiar with this because we used to split screen things a lot. But what they're going to do is they're going to open up both of these things in two different tabs. So I've gone ahead and done that for us here in our demonstration. We have the Why Tough Times Can Create Better Neighbors article. They can make this bigger. And then we also have our questions, which I already clicked into. So I'm going to click resume. They would click start attempt up here. So we do have our 7 questions here. Feel free to preview these questions, guys, as well if you want to before you start the read aloud. It's always a good idea to look at the questions so you know what it is that you are looking for before we read. Once you have these 2 things open, and for the students on their Chromebook, it's going to click in perfectly for them. I'm on a MacBook, so I kind of have to adjust things a little bit. But we want them to be open side by side so that we can look at the, and I'm going to make it full screen for me here in this window, look at the article at the same time that we have the questions out. That way they can find the answer and the question. So, or in the text, I should say. So for example, in this first question where it says, read the section, kindness can go viral too. So that means that we need to look back in the text for that section called kindness can go viral too. And once we find that section, we would want to look back in it in order to answer this question. Same thing with the other 2, 3, 4. Question 5 is going to be comparing Saturdays and Tea Cakes to our article. And then question 6 is going to be an open response. I did demonstrate for them exactly how to set this up at the top using our nonfiction from last week and our fiction from last week. There are 3 parts technically to the question. So explain why these 2 texts were paired and explain how each text, text A and text B, contributes to the shared topic. So for example, last week, Mrs. Lawson paired the text because of the shared topic on sibling relationships. The book, My Brown Red-Headed Older Brother, described how the main character and her brother were constantly competing against each other. The article, Taming Sibling Rivalry, explained strategies to get along better with siblings, how to avoid competition because everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and how to solve sibling conflicts without parental involvement. I have started sentence starters here, and it even says feel free to copy and paste the following sentence starters to help you answer the prompt. So you can quite literally copy these sentence starters and paste them down here, and then just take away the ellipsis and finish these sentences here to state why Mrs. Lawson paired the text, the book Saturdays and Tea Cakes described, and the article, Why Tough Times Can Create Better Neighbors, explained, and then just kind of finish sentences. If you want to do it completely on your own without those sentence starters, you're more than welcome to that as well. They're just there to help you. Once you've answered all the questions, you'll click on review, click finish, which will submit the assignment, just like we've done in class before. So those are your activities for this week. We will once again on Wednesday from 10:30 to 11 have a live question and answer session for language arts. If any of these activities are causing you any trouble, or if you need just more of a one-on-one help or a face-to-face help, I will be available at that time to be able to actually walk you through some things. Feel free to message me on Schoology or Dojo in the meantime as well, or email if that is easier for you. And I hopefully will see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye. Have a good day.